Houston Civil Tech, a Woolpert company. I hope I'm saying that right. EHRA Engineering, Greater Northside Management District, Gulf Coast, a CRH company, HDR Engineering, Houston Airports, Impact Strategic Consulting, Parsons Transportation Group, R.G. Miller Engineers, Texas Concrete Pipe Association, Traffic Engineers, Inc., and Zarin Kalk Engineering Services. Can I have another round of applause for our sponsors for today? I'd also like to thank our 2021 mobility partners. Y'all know these are our members that have invested with us at the highest level. They are how we are able to do what we do all year round. They are LJA Engineering, Texas Central, S&B Infrastructure, Raytech Construction Resources, Uptown Houston, Outreach Strategists, LAN, WSP, Half Associates, Robert Kistner, DEC Engineering. I always feel like I have to kind of like say because it's new. The old Dannenbaum, new DEC. Geotest Engineering and HNTB. So thank you for your support all year round. We appreciate you. I do want to take a minute to recognize we have a lot of special folks in the room today, and it just seems appropriate that we honor the fact that we're all here together in partnership. Oh, he's going to steal my thunder. Here he comes. Hi, Mayor. I met Councilmember Robinson. He's going to steal my thunder, too. So, I want to recognize all of our partners that are here today. We have leadership from TxDOT, Metro, City of Houston, Houston Airports, and I did want to recognize our elected officials that are here today. Councilmember Carlos Cisneros. If you can stand, too, when I recognize you, thank you. Councilmember David Robinson. I know I saw Councilmember Ed Pollard is here. Yes? Uh-huh. And I know Councilmember Amy Peck is planning to join us if she's not here. We also have our Harris County Clerk and recent Metro Board member, Mr. Chris Hollins. We have Larissa Plunto with Congressman Michael McCall's office. And we have Jay Guerrero with Senator Cornyn's office. Did I miss anybody besides the mayor, of course? Wonderful. Well, as again, I'd say, we would not be here today without all of you. I appreciate the soundtrack music that's happening out on the lawn. I want to say thank you again for sticking with us, joining us from your homes to keep the transportation funding message going and strong. We didn't miss a beat. We didn't stop. We kept going, and our work has paid off. I want you to join me for a minute. We're going to go through what's going on with the legislature. It's a lot. For transportation, and it's a lot of great stuff, and it would not be happening if it wasn't for all the advocacy that we've done over the last year. HJR 99 is transportation reinvestment zones for counties. It has passed the House and the Senate. The Senate made some changes because they do that, And so it's going to go back to the House, and they're going to probably concur. But then the trick is that we have an election then November 2nd, a statewide referendum that needs to pass for it to pass. And so fingers crossed we get it through session, and then look for more information on how you can get involved to make sure that we pass that in November. House Bill 2219, which is for the Texas Mobility Fund. It has passed both houses. It allows bonding capacity for TxDOT. It's very important. I am told that there might be some hesitancy from the governor to sign it. So if you have any flex with that, please see me after today's event. And then I'm really, really, really proud of this one. And I know she's not going to like that I'm going to make her stand and be recognized, but there's a special bill that's out there for the Gulf Coast Rail District, and it's been kind of the little engine that could. And I'm so proud of Dr. Carol Lewis with Senate Bill 1990. It's Senate Bill 1990, and it's passed both houses. It's smooth sailing. It's been who knew she's an operative in Austin? I didn't know this. It expands the powers of the Gulf Coast Rail District to be able to do things beyond commuter rail. And so that's so important as we look towards the future of transportation. So we're really, really happy and proud of that one. So thank you for that. Senate Bill 1728 deals with electric vehicle fees. It hit some hiccups, but there's some negotiations that are going on, and so we hope that something comes out of session. But we're not certain about that one, so stay tuned. And I would like at this time to have our Legislative Policy Council members please stand. If you serve on the Legislative Policy Council, I'm going to call you out if you don't stand. Barbara. Angela, yes, thank you. James, Kara, Dr. Lewis, Elijah. So thank you. These folks are... These folks are with us every other week, checking in, listening to me talk about everything that's going on in Austin, and providing feedback on our next direction and our next move. So thank you so much for all of your hard work. I did also want to recognize we have a guest here from D.C., and I'm going to pull out my phone so I don't get it incorrect, because Robbie would not be happy with me if I did. You know Robbie, he's tough. So we have Miss Tracy Thomas here, all the way from D.C. She is the Managing Director for Construction, Facility, and Security Management, and a career member of the Senior Foreign Service of the U.S. Department of State Bureau of Overseas. And I had to read that because I knew I would mess that up. So Tracy, can you stand for us? Yes, okay. And she's a native of Oklahoma, and for those of you that don't know my background, I did spend a couple of years in Oklahoma City, and I loved it. And Texans get real mad when I say that, but I did love it. So I appreciate that we've got some fellow Oklahoma love here. So with that, I'm going to have our board members stand and be recognized. Y'all know who Greg, come on. All right, that's right. Okay. Thank you. They have kept working hard through all this as well. And I'm going to bring up our board chairman, Mr. Mustafa Tamiz.
Well, good afternoon. It is so wonderful to see all your faces in the same room. It's been nice seeing all of you over the Zoom. We see you like this. Some of you have gained some weight like I have. I didn't know that because on Zoom you can't tell. Maris, you still look great. I will say this. I love this city, like many of you. And Houston is, it's not just a place we love, but it's a place that is the future of America. When we look at the big challenges, the energy capital of the world, when we deal with climate change, it sends a message not just to this nation, but to the world. When we deal with commuter problems, when we deal with congestion, we send a message because, as the census will reveal, while other cities are contracting, we're growing. So the leadership that we bring to bear around the country sends an important message. And we have no greater leader than Mayor Sylvester Turner. You're supposed to applaud. What do you need? What do you need, like an applause button here? Here. In all seriousness, somebody said the other day, these are difficult times. And I don't agree with that. I think these are times of opportunity. We are coming out of difficult times. But when we look ahead, these are times of opportunity. And when there are times of opportunity, you want leadership that is nimble, that is ready to take advantage of what's ahead of us. And when we see Mayor Sylvester Turner, here's somebody who knows how to do that. He knows how to govern. He knows how to lead. I don't have to read his bio to let you know, because you know him, you've seen him. And I think the remarks that you will hear from him today are forward-looking and facing the biggest issues that we have, bringing people together to get things done. And that's what he's done his entire career, and that's what we need him to do today. So with that, I know you're not here to talk to me or hear me. You're here to listen to what the mayor has to say. So welcome our friend, Mayor Sylvester Turner.
Let me start off by thanking Mustafa and certainly to Tag and Andrea Jack and all of the board members and certainly all of you. Look, it is a gorgeous day, and the breeze feels great, and that's the best seat over there in the house, or right there. That's the best seat. And it's good to see everybody's faces. In a long time, we've seen some of people's faces. And I assume that everybody's been vaccinated fully. I assume. If not, I've got a small little can of Lysol. Wait a minute, I'm going to spray you. I got using technology. It tells me whether or not you've been fully vaccinated. And if you're not, it's automatic spray can for you. But look, to all of the members of City Council, and let me acknowledge them again, because Wednesday is budget day. And I've seen some of their amendments already. So let me acknowledge them. Councilmember Cisneros, how you doing? Good to see you. Councilmember David Robinson and your participation. TPC, appreciate your leadership. Thank you so very much. Where's Councilmember Pollard? I know he was back there. How you doing, Councilmember Pollard? Pull that amendment down. Any other council members here? I don't want to miss any of them. I love this group so much. I tell you, we just work so well when we work together in unanimity with one another. But I do want to thank TAG Houston. I want to thank, of course, the Houston City Council members, Harris County, Metro, TxDOT, HGAG, the Houston Bike Share, Houston Park Board, Bike Houston, Link Houston, the Greater Houston Partnership, and so many others. Look, let me start by asking a question. I won't have you to say it out loud, but just from my point of reference, how did you get to the Grove today? How did you get here? Most people either drove. Let me just a show of hands. Most people drove. Okay. What's that? Okay. People carpool. Okay. Anybody walk from where they? A lot of people. All right. Good. Anybody took the rail today? Anybody? Got something that took the rail? What about took a bicycle? Anybody did that? Now, if you took a scooter, I'm going to be mad with you because it's not permitted. So I'm not going to ask that question. But most of you today got here by driving or carpooling. And so, and of course, that's the city that we have built for so long. You built it, they shall come. And over the decades, we have built roads. That's the choice we have invested so much money in. And after years and years of investing in our city, we know people use what we build. Our biggest investment by a wide margin is our investment in our roads. And people have taken us up on that investment and mostly travel throughout our region using those very roads. Believe it or not, it is not the only way people travel around in our city. People use all the modes we invest in. And decades ago, we invested in Metro. And today, Tom, we have one of the most successful bus-based park and ride systems in the country. You might not know it, but Houston is a walking and biking city as well. We have people, I love the music. I tell you, it seems like I ought to be bouncing right along with it. We have people using every travel choice we give them. And they use every one of those choices every single day of the year. And some of you use them in getting to this speech today. You might drive to work downtown, or you might use Metro Rail to get to the Texas Medical Center. You might walk with a colleague to lunch, or you might bike to school with your kid. And a system that provides you these travel choices, one that grows those systems and lets everyone travel safely by whichever mode they choose, that is the future of this city. We have embraced our paradigm shift from a driving city and I now envision Houston as a city for all, served by all modes. Houston will be a multimodal city. And why should Houston be a multimodal city? Why shouldn't we continue to build more roads, wider roads, faster roads everywhere within our region? Because the more roads we build and the more space we dedicate to driving, the more space we lose by doing. You cannot fully experience Houston from the freeway if you focus so much on roads for the trip. We miss being a destination city. And Houston's future is a destination for residents and visitors from across the country and all over the world. As we speak here today, there are ambassadors coming from the continent of Africa right here in this city that I will be speaking at a lunch when I leave this particular meeting. Even the president and the queen of Uganda are right here in this city. They have come from all over the world. And why are they here? Because Houston is a destination city, a place where people want to live, want to do business, want to visit, and see what it's all about. We even attract people from Oklahoma because we know this is a destination city. It is impossible to be a destination city at 70, or to view the destinations at 70 miles per hour. To be that destination city, we must be a walkable city, one where people can walk out of their homes in Acres Home, or walk out of their hotel downtown, or walk out of their Airbnb in Montrose, and walk safely and comfortably along sidewalks and across streets to a cafe or an office, to the convention center, or to even go from one store to another. This past year, we made our city more walkable with 50 miles of new and reconstructed sidewalks. We piloted the first ever Slow Streets project in Eastwood, and we conducted the city's first connectivity study, working with Council Member Kamen to improve connections between Montrose and Midtown. We also promised that everyone could walk safely and released our Vision Zero Action Plan. Because we can eliminate death and serious injuries on our roadways. To be the destination city, we must also be a bikeable city, one where people can bike at any age along our existing 340 miles of bike facilities. Today are the 1,800 miles of bike facilities we are planning. And this year alone, we are adding 13 miles and have another 50 miles in design or construction. And people can bring their own bike or use our 800 B-cycles, including 100 electric bikes provided by Harris County Precinct 1. That is my preferred way to ride a bike. Some prefer just to do it in a manual way, but I believe in technology. It's the electric bike that I prefer. To be that destination city, we must be able to connect to transit and ride it anywhere we want to go. And Metro is a great partner to us, with Metro Next as their guide for the future. Metro operated even in the midst of the pandemic. And Tom, I want to thank you and the board members for your work. They opened the Metro Rapid Silver Line in August with dedicated bus lanes along Post Oak Boulevard, connecting uptown Houston to two major transit centers. And they are now kicking off their first boost routes, the 54 Scott and 56 Airline Montrose, to provide a better walk, a better shop, and a better shelter. And to be that destination city, we must imagine transit as even more than metros, buses, and rail. We need transit to connect us to the whole state of Texas and beyond by moving more people in fewer vehicles and at higher speeds. At this scale, we're working with Texas Central on their high-speed train project so that residents, business people, and visitors can travel from Houston to Dallas in 90 minutes. Imagine having left Dallas less than 2 hours ago to join us in person for Houston State of Mobility speech. That is Houston as a multimodal city, as a destination city. And it is my hope that Texas Central and its investors will remain true to their commitment. And at the same time, my conversations with U.S. Secretary of Transportation Buttigieg have been very positive, and simply put, they have been supportive and continue to be. So Stephanie Nellens Page, it's my hope that we will regain the momentum and get that bullet train built between Houston and Dallas. And let's be clear, I am not saying people will not drive. People will. This is Texas, this is Houston, it's the Houston region. People are going to drive their cars, their trucks. And we will continue to accommodate people driving as one of their travel choices. This year alone, we built or reconstructed more than 70 lanes, miles plus, overlaying nearly 200 lane miles, retimed traffic signals at 800 intersections, and implemented the city's advanced traffic management central software to make our roadways more efficient, more comfortable, and safer. And I want to thank Director Carol Haddock and her team for simply doing an amazing job at repairing many of our bad streets in the city of Houston. But they are bad for a reason, because over the decades, we have not spent what we needed to spend to make sure that we have nice roads and streets in our city. And so, but when we talk about our roadways, we must always make sure that our roadways serve our city, not dominate it. We must use our roadways to support our community, the people who live here and the businesses they serve, and not overwhelm us with traffic, concrete, and noise. And that is why I maintain that the North Houston Highway Improvement Project could be, and I underscore could be, the project of a generation. And it could be, and I underscore could be, transformational. Transformational if it's done right. It could be reconstructed with drainage and flood mitigation as a priority, designed with a footprint that only takes that right-of-way that is needed, constructed to be compatible with transit infrastructure and Metro Next, designed to enhance neighborhood connectivity, green space, trail connections along the banks of Buffalo Bayou, White Oak Bayou, Little White Oak Bayou, and Halls Bayou. And the construction comes with a firm commitment to provide just compensation for all relocations and displacements, especially as it relates to housing. Over the last 30 days, Chairman Bruce Bugg and I have met in person and have had several conversations in hopes of moving this project forward. Those discussions continue. And Elijah, it is my hope that if we genuinely work together in good faith, recognizing that the community input is important, that what happens in this city is important, that this project can move forward. We must keep in our vision in mind. Houston is a destination city. Houston is a multimodal city. And Houston is not just a city of roads. And the way we have done things in the past, over the decades, will not represent the future of our city. This is a different time, and we must do things differently. I want the I-45 project to move forward. Let there be no mistake about it. I want it to be built. I believe it can be transformational, but it must be done in collaboration, in partnership with Houston and Harris County, and not without their support. And so I hope that TxDOT and all of those in the region will work with us to move it forward. I have been in office for some 30 years. I have worked with TxDOT, Elijah, over the decades. And in most cases, we have been able to reach a meeting in the minds. And I believe There's an opportunity here, and I'm hoping that we can find it. Streets and parking lots that were previously only dedicated to moving and storing cars are not offering the city their full value and can become so many other things. And this year, we created the More Space program that allows restaurants to convert 50% of their unused parking spaces and use the space to serve customers during COVID restrictions. We then extended the concept to More Space, Main Street, where the city is closing certain blocks of Main Street to vehicle traffic and allowing restaurants and bars to serve customers in the roadway. Opening our transportation vision is not only on land. Embracing the value of waterways, the Port of Houston now has early stage approval for the widening of the ship channel that will, with industry support, also lead to the deepening of the same channel, allowing us to be more freight in less space. Why stop at waterways? For us to be a true destination city, our transportation must take us to the stars. 6 years ago, we became a licensed federal spaceport. We have invested in infrastructure at this spaceport, and last week, City Council passed 2 major projects that will be building space infrastructure. And when we say Houston is a multimodal city, we recognize that even the astronauts walking to the ship happens to be a pedestrian. What Houston can do right here on Earth, we can do in space as well. Quite frankly, there is nothing we cannot do when we are willing to work together. To keep moving Houston forward, to become this destination city, we must continue to work with our partners. And during this Texas legislative session, we have worked with our long-standing partners at TAG, Transportation Advocacy Group, as they led advocacy for transportation funding, even amidst a pandemic-plagued legislative session. I want to acknowledge what Andrea had to say. They kept the message going and strong through virtual conversations with House and Senate leadership, with their Ledge and Learn and Under the Dome series and consistent and aggressive advocacy. They educated lawmakers early on, and these investments have paid off with major legislation now in its final stages of session, about to cross the victory line. Now, I must add, even though I want some of these things to be completed, I can't wait until they sine die. It's time for the legislators to come home. And we will provide buses, we will provide bikes, we will provide trains, we will provide TNCs, and though I don't like them, we'll send them scooters to bring them home. But the legislation up to this point include for counties to implement transportation reinvestment zones, allowing TxDOT bonding capacity once more with the Texas Mobility Fund, studying the impact and road consumption of all vehicles to better determine equity for future transportation fees and taxes, and expanding the authority of our very own Gulf Coast Rail District beyond commuter rail. And Carol, I do want to acknowledge and thank you for your leadership. It should also be noted that no transportation dollars were taken from the budget, something many were concerned about would happen. We are not at the finish line yet, and our work certainly is not done. There were many bills that did not make it, including an effort to set speed limits based on context, and we will continue to pursue this and additional vision, zero-based legislation, and push for policies that promote the safety in our movements and mobility. If you want to see the vision for our future transportation system, TAG's Motion Map is a great resource, and the Motion Map illustrates our regional collaboration and collective consensus for the projects that matter most to our city and region. We cannot move forward unless it is together. TAG and working with its partners, whether it's Metro, TxDOT, the Port of Houston, the City of Houston, and others, continue this critical work to move us all in the right direction. And let me ask you once more, many of us came here utilizing our roads. And I do want to be very clear, that's important for the network that we establish in our city. But I also want to emphasize the people that are now in our city and coming to our region. And they are looking for the same kind of transportation systems that were in the places from which they come. And it's important for our future that we make those options available. It can no longer be viewed as a one-way. It has to be a multimodal approach. And if we don't do that, we miss out. And it's my hope and my prayer that when it comes to funding and designing our systems, that it's not a partisan issue, but it's simply an issue of what we need to move us forward. This is an opportunity to do something transformational. I will tell you, in the remaining 2.5 years that I have left, I will regret if we don't take full advantage of the opportunities that currently exist. I hope that what's playing out on the national scene and even on the state scene will not play out locally. If we do that, we will all miss. And so when I come back again for the 7th State of Mobility speech, I hope I can report at that point in time that when it comes to Texas Central, we are building a bullet train to bring people from Dallas. I said it one way, okay? Now, when it comes to the I-40 project, that we are building, reconstructing a highway system that will mitigate the risk of flooding that occurs right now, because for those of us who drive up and down I-45, if it rains, I-45 and Main will flood. And if you go down to I-45, Airline, Tidwell, Parker, and Little York, you may as well keep on driving because the feeders are underwater. So the project, what exists today, is outdated, and it needs to be significantly enhanced. But it has to be done in such a way that recognizes the importance of our parks and our green space, and even build more. It has to be done in mitigating the risk of flooding. It has to be done in such a way that connect our communities and not further divide them. It has to be done in such a way that doesn't take more than what's required, and it significantly damages the independent hikes of our community. And it has to be done in such a way that people who are displaced, that they are displaced, but they are taken care of at the same time. If we are willing to make those commitments, then I believe the next time we meet, then we can say that project is moving forward, because quite frankly, it should. The only thing that will stand in the way is if it engages in the sort of politics that is destructive and not constructive. And quite frankly, that is not the Houston way. In the next 2.5 years, I want to see a destination city where people are eager to come here because they recognize that when they get here, we can move them from point A to B. And then lastly, Carroll has 2.5 years later to build and repair these streets such that when you're driving on these streets, you can drink your coffee and it won't spill on your shirt. Carol, I know you can do it. I just know you can. And then with Metro, if we all pull it together, then I think we'll see a far different city than the city in which I came into the world in 1954. This is not 1954. It's not 1964 or 74 or 2004. It's 2021. Now let's build a city that's reflective of where we are and where we are going. Thank you.
I didn't know if there were any questions for the mayor. that he was willing to answer today? All topics beyond transportation? I don't know. I'm kidding. Any questions for the mayor today? I think you had one, Jack.
What did you eat for breakfast?
No. No burning questions. Yes, Mustafa?
I think you put a great vision for the city. What do you want from all of us? What can we do coming out of this pandemic that you think will foster that vision?
Look, this has always been a visionary city, and I think that drives policy. I think it's the vision that drives the policy, and I think it's important for us to continue to dream big, to have big ideas, and then to work to move those things in the right direction. And quite frankly, beyond elected officials, this is the point in time in which the people themselves, I think, will have the greatest influence. Okay, so take elected officials out. You know, I think people have to be reminded that as elected officials, we are employees. Okay, we are employees. You all are the employers. And I think we've kind of gotten that twisted. Okay, so employees need to exercise employers need to exercise their authority and make sure that the employees, and I'm an employee, I serve at your pleasure. Okay, but vision, and not get caught up in yesterday's model, because yesterday's model will not apply to today and where we're going. When I ran for office, my daughter said to me something I've never forgotten. She says, Mayor, Father, when you become mayor, build this city not for people your age and older. Build this city for people my age and younger. That was the advice she gave to me. And let me tell you, that is even more true today, that we must build a city for this generation going forward, not for the generation of yesterday. Otherwise, we will miss, and people and businesses will go to cities that are visionary and are building a city for their workforce. We'll miss it if we try to design and build a city yesterday. Yes, James. You know, we're pretty much at the end of the commitment that was made. You know, I want to thank the Kenners and all for the investment and so many others that made that investment in Bayou 2020. And now we're looking to the next round. And that's where our 45 project, for example, can be a part of that, because there are opportunities for a lot of park space, green and park space. Okay. Right now, we're in Discovery Green. A part of I-45, for example, it will take place. You take the east side, another park opportunity. In Midtown, another park opportunity. North Main, another park and green space opportunity. But you have to work also with your existing green space that exists currently right now. So I'm excited. You know, this is the vision of I-45, for example, is where you construct it in such a way that the focus is not on the freeway. The focus is on everything else. I-45 kind of just disappears. Now, is it moving people? Is it serving as an evacuation route? Okay. Is it creating an infrastructure for safe users? Absolutely. The answer is yes to all of that. But you design it and build it in such a way that the focus is not on the freeway. You see everything else. But it meets all of the needs. Okay? Conventional in the sense of meeting the needs, but futuristic in the sense of how the city is being designed. So that when people are looking at the city of Houston going forward, they don't see all of these freeways. What they see is a city that's futuristic, where people are, yes, using your freeways, but they're walking, they're biking, they are using managed lanes, transit. All of those things are taking place. And it's ecologically clean. Got it? All right, got it all? We all on the same page? Anybody disagreeing with me? This is your time. I won't be offended. You can't vote for me again, so I mean, best time to talk to me right now. Well, I'm not going to ask them to take down their amendments. They know how to read my vibes. They're so kind. You won't find a better set of council members anywhere in the United States of America. Now, ask me on Wednesday afternoon how I feel. No, but even on that, I will tell you one thing I am proud of. We have worked very well together. It's good to have people's opinions. I don't have any problem with that. It's good to express people. But on balance, and I would say 99% of the time, it is a very collegiate body. And it's not run based on party affiliation, which I like. Okay. So in that sense, I'm very, very pleased. And then, quite frankly, and our relationship with some of our congressional members, quite good. And they come and visit me, don't they? And so I extend my best to people like Congressman McCall and others who have just been a good friend and supporter. So I'm very, very pleased with that. Okay? I'm sorry, Stephanie. Well, and I will tell you, we do want to be a part of the conversation. When people are looking at cities, especially now, it is important for us to be a part of the conversation. My relationship with Secretary Buttigieg has been great. My relationship with Secretary Fudge of HUD has been great, and many of those components. I do also. Where's David Fields? I want to acknowledge David. David is my point person on transportation at the City of Houston. If you like what I had to say, I spent all night. If you didn't like what I have to say, David. But no, David has been great. I appreciate you. David has been great in helping us and spearheading our transportation policies. It is a collective effort. And I will tell you as mayor what I know. No one person drives anything by him or herself. So David and Carol and Margaret and so many others have participated in making things happen and being constructive. So I really, I'm indebted to them. I've had a great team, still have a great team. So thank you so very, very much. And then lastly, it is a destination city. I would tell you that I would not be heading the African American Mayors Association or the U.S. Climate Mayors or being the board chair of the Global Resilient Cities all at the same time, but for the fact that people are looking at the city of Houston. It's not given to me just because of me, but when you start talking about resilience and all that we have in this city, they came to me to be the board chair of Resilient Cities. U.S. Climate Mayors would not have... The mayor of Houston being head of the U.S. Climate Mayors, 474 of them, but they also recognize what's taking place in the city of Houston. And the same thing with the African American mayors. The point that I'm making, we have to do everything we can to make sure that people are looking at this city and what we're doing in this city, and that they are following our lead, and not necessarily we're following theirs. And so that's why it's so important for us to get things right and to do it together. And I remain very optimistic. Elijah, I love you dearly. I tell you, TxDOT is just the best. And so, but Elijah and I have worked together for a long time. And so I look forward to continuing to work with her and her team. So I think I buttered up enough. Anybody else that I need to butter up a little bit? Tom, how are you doing?
Mr. Mayor, I'm doing great, sir. Thank you.
You doing fine?
Yes, sir.
Are we going to be ready when people go back to work on June 1st?
Yes, sir, we are.
Okay. Bus occupancy is up higher?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Who else in here do I need to pick on? How is Congress doing? But let me take an opportunity. I have a couple of minutes. Let me take an opportunity to say this. Let me take this opportunity. I'm glad. I love the lead in. I like that. You know, and I didn't plan it either. But I'm sure that I'm going to take advantage of it. So, but let me just say this. When GLO made their announcement a week ago, you would have thought that Harvey did not hit Houston, Harris County. When you give $0 of infrastructure dollars coming from the Fed to Houston and just $90 million to parts of Harris County, you would have thought that Harvey did not hit Houston and Harris County. What is that about? When the reason for $4.3 billion coming to Texas is because Houston and Harris County experienced a little more than 50% of the damage. And it was to mitigate the risk of future flooding. And if you do it on a proportional basis, $1 billion should have gone to Harris County, $1 billion should have gone to Houston. And you know something is wrong with that decision when every commissioner, Democrat and Republican in Harris County, every commissioner, Commissioner Ellis and Commissioner Cagle on the same page? Every commissioner. And then on Houston City Council, Councilmember Kubosh, Councilmember Mike Knox, Councilmember Travis, and Pollard and Robinson and Cisneros, every last one of them on the same page. Every last one. Signing the same letter. And why is that? And the reason being is that when God decides to allow it to rain, it rains on everybody. And if you're in Kingwood or Clear Lake or Third Ward or Sunnyside or the East End, Magnolia Place or Fort Bend, you get the rain. And over the last 14 days, we've gotten a lot of rain. And if you get a lot of rain, if you don't have the right infrastructure in place, regardless of what you build or what mode of transportation, you will come to a halt. Okay? And then what will people, where this is a destination city, what will they say if they come to a city and you just keep flooding? All of a sudden they decide this is not the place where we want to be. It's not the place. So for GLO, for Commissioner George Bush, to simply say 0 to Houston, and then to come back yesterday and to say it was the federal policy, are you kidding me? Your state action plan, you submitted it last year, not this year. And you don't have to go through the feds or the HUD. If you want to do a direct allocation, all he has to do is amend his state action plan and make the direct allocation. And award Harris County the $1 billion and award the city of Houston. And then what is this? You're going to give $750 million to Harris County? Well, where's Houston in that equation? Explain that to me. It is that type of foolishness. It's that type of foolishness that, quite frankly, I don't have very much patience with. I done got to the point. Those type of games, I don't like playing. I just choose not to play. And so I've reached the point where I say to the people of the state of Texas, to the people in the city of Houston, to the people in Harris County, you must now speak up. Because I don't want to be a part of the sideshow. I'm not a gladiator in the ring and everybody's in the stands. We all must be participants in this process. But that makes no sense. And who are you hurting? Who are you hurting? So GLO is, Margaret, I didn't see you back there. You are, Margaret. How you doing? But GLO GLO is wrong on this. They're just flat out. There's no other way to put it. And there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that you are wrong and making it right. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to play games. You don't have to place blame someplace else. Just acknowledge, for whatever reason, it was wrong. That's all you got to do. And then let's move forward. And we're good. And I'll call him my good friend. And when he gets ready to announce that he's running for something else, I'll listen to him. But I shall not support him. I've gotten to the point I'm too old for games. And there's too much at stake. And people's lives are at stake. So let's move past it. So that was more. Now you know you should have asked me that question. All right, thank you all so very much. I'm sitting down.
All right. Mayor, you oversee a staff of 22,000 employees. So I want to say thank you to Andrea and Esmeralda, who really, not just today, but over the pandemic, have done a phenomenal job of really leading TAG in so many efforts at the legislature and so many things. And you'll appreciate this, man. We've had success at the legislature because Andrea's made sure that I'm nowhere to be found. She said, no, you shouldn't go because this would hurt us. And then also our board, again, if you can stand, our volunteer leadership has done a phenomenal job in this every step of the way. And then, Mayor, I know it's been said today several times, but your leadership in this, not just in this city, but in this country, for so many initiatives that you lead across the board, is valued, it's appreciated, and it's making a phenomenal difference. And so thank you for all the stuff you do. And I feel like that we have a community in transportation across the board. And so it's so good to see so many of you. And as the mayor has said, it takes all of us to get involved, to be engaged. We have made a difference in the legislature. It's going to take all of us for these consensus conversations to bring more resources in the region at the federal level, at the state level. There is more federal money out there. It comes through the state. It comes, through the work of all of us. So please stay engaged with TAG. Help us bring more resources to do these projects, because without you, it's not possible. So there are more lunches in the back. Some of you have not taken them. Please take them.